that you haven't heard about it means, is it a big country? No. How many people are there? Guess. Well, maybe 10 million, my guess, right? In Russia, maybe 180 million. If it was Mongolian army on one side, Russian army on the other side, who would win? Russia. But of course, as always, when you have a big country, it's divided, right? So the Mongols came, and there's like one duke who says, look, guys, I'm fighting with my brother. I hate him. If you help me, we'll divide his dukedom. Okay? So they come and just continued on, and in the end they conquered everything. So in politics, it's bad. In computer science, it's good. This is bisection. So what you do is, if you don't know what the utility is, what you do is, you start with an interval 0, 1. That means utility is, probability is somewhere from 0 to 1. Then what you do, you take a midpoint, and you divide into 2 subintervals, from 0 to 0.5, from 0.5 to 1. And then later on, you continue dividing, and then you compare your alternative with the value at the midpoint, with the lottery corresponding to the midpoint. If the midpoint is 0.5, like for tacos and the amount of money, 300 pesos with probability 0.5 for tacos. 300 pesos, of course, right? So that means what? The utility for you is smaller than 0.5, so you limit it to the interval from 0 to 0.5. Then you divide again and again, and if you want accuracy of 1%, you need how many divisions? 7. 2 to the power 7 is 120. So you make decisions based on this, and again, just to make it cautious. This is rational behavior. We're not claiming that inside our brains we do process probabilities or utilities or whatever it is. It's just the way to describe a rational human behavior. And there is such a thing as expected utility. What is expected utility? Suppose you have several alternatives, S1 through Sn, each with some probability. So, how is this translatable? What does this translate into? So, each situation is equivalent to the lottery in which we get this $1 billion with probability U of S sub I and nothing with probability 1 minus U of S sub I, where U is the utility. So now, the whole situation is equivalent to a complex lottery in which we first select S sub I with probability U of S sub I, and then depending on which alternative we get either A1 with this probability or A0. So we use the formula of the complete probability, and this is the formula that you may remember from probability classes. This is what? This probability is P sub I. This conditional probability of A sub I is exactly utility. So you get what? You get the expected value of the utility. So this is justification for the expected value of the utility. And of course, it's all good if we know the probabilities. Like if we are talking about raining in a certain day, we may be able to predict the probability by tracing in the past how frequently it rained on this particular day. But in many cases, we don't know the probabilities. So what do? We get subjective probability. What is subjective probability? Subjective probability is the following. You fix a price, for example, 1 peso is maybe too little. How about 1,000 pesos, okay? And somebody asks you, what do you prefer? So, for example, you want to know your subjective probability that it will be a strong rain tomorrow. What do you prefer? To get 1,000 pesos with probability 0.5 or 1,000 pesos if it rains tomorrow strongly? Okay, so if you prefer 1,000 pesos with probability 0.5, that means to you the subjective probability of raining is less than 0.5, and so on. So this enables you to get very simple description of the probability. Now, this is a traditional approach. We assume that we know all the possible actions. We assume that we know the exact consequences of each action, and we select the action with the largest possible value of probability. Let's go to this consumer thing. This is called the compromise effect. When a consumer shopping if out of the three things, it always, in most cases, the consumer selects the intermediate alternative. And we already mentioned why it is irrational. So, and this is not just a theoretical feature. This is actually how the stores, the restaurants, the hotels, whatever it is, the airlines manipulate you. They create something on top, they create something on the bottom, so that you should select the option that you may have selected differently. Again, I am probably the only person for whom it doesn't work. I'm kind of, you know, there is imprinting. If you take a little goosling and show a mouse or cat, the gooseling will start following the cat as if it is his mother. Same thing with me. When I was young, we didn't have money, I was a poor student, so I liked cheap food. My wife tried that. I mean, she buys apples from different stores and asks me to taste which tastes better for me. Always, the ones from the cheapest store taste the best. So all these fancy banquets on the conferences are lost on me. Give me simple things. Okay, so, but on many people it works. So how do we explain that? Well, one thing is the so-called symmetry approach. What is a symmetry approach? A symmetry approach is very simple. It's kind of, how do we know, how do we make predictions? We make predictions based on what? Based on the fact that we had similar situations in the past, and so we kind of conclude that similar things will happen in the future. Like, ancient people started doing that. Every day the sun rises, so you predict at night, next morning the sun will rise. That's why when there is an eclipse, everybody is there. It goes into a more complicated way. Newton described that force is equal to mass times acceleration. Newton's second law. It was occurring billions of times, so we expect the same thing will happen again. And the basis of this is the notion that some situations are similar. This is called symmetry. And you have two situations which are similar. So what is the symmetry? And this is used efficiently. It has been used to describe, to justify activation functions for neural networks, to logic. So let's go back to our consumer. The utility of each alternative comes from two factors. The first factor is the quality. The higher the quality, the better. The second factor is the price. The lower price, the better. No. Sometimes you buy something with the whole purpose of bragging, oh, I bought this expensive car. Not because it's any better, because you want to show to everybody that it's expensive. So every alternative is characterized by two things, by the cost, the quality, and the cost. So the higher quality, the better, the lower cost, the better. So